Docking bay confirmed. Beginning final approach to Rifleman Bank Station.
What the hell? I think it came from around here.
Aft and bow thrusters full back.
All right, here we get some kind of a setup for Hazard. One of the things that we should have done better in the whole Deus Ex Human Revolution is trying to play around more about the gas effect, the electric type of challenges against some of the ammunitions of the player. And it directly in the cargo, I wanted to play around with it, at least with the gas, because to enforce the player using the rebooter, I basically just close up this whole section with gas and trying to add also some elements of storytelling in the environment itself. Like one of the character was caught off guard by that leaking gas, and he tried to fix it. We got even emails hinting about it. So there's a lot of stuff that we play around to have a sense of context in just a gas hazard, and not do like typical games do, just hey, here's a challenge, try to figure out how to pass it without sense of context. So we had some fun with it.
Docking bay confirmed.
Anyone's here? Come out now.
I think you're seeing things.
Beginning final approach to Rifleman Bank Station.
also what we call the SAS, that type of
The security airlock system.
kind of in between door that you wait to load. When you see those type of things in games, typically it's because they're trying to load data on the other end of the door. This is what we're doing here. Basically, we made that compromise of no hard loading, so there's no hard loading in DLC. You probably noticed that. But there's those SAS, and that's a compromise. When the SAS is animating and doing all of its fluffy stuff, it's actually loading the next room, depending on the direction you goes in, which was tons of little technical development we had to do to make it work properly.
And we needed them for a couple reasons. I mean, we needed them for the loading, but we also needed them for story purposes. They kind of often serve as gates. Because we wanted to make sure that you achieve certain objectives. Like, for example, you have to go see Netanya before you can get access to the prison. And so they were kind of necessary for story purposes. I think this particular one that we're seeing first was very difficult because we also had to have the mysterious contact you in the midst of loading, which was a big challenge and a big debate as to whether we'd be able to pull that off or not.
I think it's actually interesting that we could merge story element into this type of typically technically required thing as this SAS is.
But they do take a long time, and because unfortunately there's a lot of backtracking that has to be done in this, they do get quite annoying after a while.
Yeah.
And for that, we're really, really, really sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Activating security scan. Biometric data assembled. Subject not recognized.
You're quite the ghost, Bratan. Let's see if I can keep it that way.
So, you're a hacker.
There's a maintenance tunnel in loading bay 1. Access through a floor panel. Get inside. Follow the cables, and try not to kill the person inside.
Access granted.
At this very moment, and it's basically the end of the cargo mission, where you actually finally get out of the boat. Originally on the scripts and the game, we didn't really have any moments, anything specific or special, and so we had a lot of discussion, story level design, and everything, to make it like a bit of an event for the player. So instead of just having this corridor or this like bridge or something, we decided to put a button basically, which is you trigger something and then the whole cargo doors open very slowly and reveal the main base, this secret base, this secret environment that you're gonna have to negotiate for like the next few hours of the game. So it was a very, very important moment, and it actually took a long time to develop, to make it work, make it fit. Music-wise, sounds, and the whole environment, the lighting, everything. But I think it turned out very, very well.
Are we slated to check out the administration wing?
Negative. We don't have access via this dock anyway. Top security clearance only. You need to take a leak, you'll have to take the long way around.
Oh, you're a goddamn riot. That sounds like another Dock 3 security protocol. I bet those special op assholes have clearance, right?
No. Most of them probably don't need to use the washroom like we do anyway. All they need is the occasional oil change.
I guess spending all that time in the Australian Dust Bowl really gums up their gears.
So one of the other challenges we faced in creating the DLC with our tight time frame is that we really couldn't create a lot of new AI or new enemies, and we really wanted to make a better and a different experience for players. So we had to get really creative, didn't we, as to how we got around that?
That's right. We looked into different archetypes and all sorts of new characters, and it was very difficult for us to just get on with it and match with the story and the environment. So we decided that since it's a military base and it's supposed to be secret, it's off the grid, so it should be more defensive in nature than offensive. So no need for missile launchers and satellite connection, nukes and stuff. So we wanted to make it more like it's easy for you to if you find it to get in, but then it's kind of hard to get out. So these Typhoon turrets that you see turning are based on a design that you also see at the very beginning of Human Revolution. That's used on dummies in Serif Industries. So we decided that, since it makes sense that the Tyrants were there before and they stole some technologies, they probably took that technology and used it for, their own use, and that's defensive in nature. So you'll see them in different corridors if the alarms are triggered, just like one of those mechanics that we figured out would make something interesting. And I'll talk.
And there we go.
Every time? Jesus, I know it's procedure, but come on.
Security credentials must be carried at all times. You may be asked to produce said credentials by security personnel. Please comply.
That's far enough, Jensen.
You were behind this?
I said that's far enough. I can explain everything if you just stay where you are.
Why don't you put the gun down? Then maybe we can talk.
You think I'm stupid? You've got every reason in the world to hate me, and I've heard what you do to your enemies. Tell me, did you enjoy putting so many BT contractors into comas?
You're the one who let me off the leash.
It wasn't my choice. As a matter of fact, I think you're going to get us both killed before this is over. But if we'd left you in that brig, who'd be around to save your Dr. Reed?
What do you know about Megan?
I know the name set off way too many bells and whistles when I added it to Burke's profile search on you. But it helped me to figure out who you are and why you stowed away on the ship. You think Belltower kidnapped her, don't you?
You want to tell me you didn't?
I wish I could. But after what I've seen this past year, all I know for certain is she's not on the base. Not anymore.
What's that supposed to mean?
Not what you're thinking. Listen, Rifleman Bank Station supports all Belltower operations in this region, Jensen. Regular contract and special op. 6 months ago, I received orders to pull every regular grade soldier and civilian contractor away from the airstrip. 2 Black Hawk helicopters set down minutes later. I thought it had to do with Australia, especially when I saw covered stretchers coming out.
How many?
5. Guarded by a heavily augmented special ops team. Burke went out to meet the leader and the whole group disappeared inside the detention camp. There's some kind of black project going on in there, Jensen. Something involving prisoners and scientists. And I need you to find out what it is.
I'm gonna need more information than that. Tell me about this black project.
I wish I could, but it's been classified. So classified every BT suit I've talked to refuses to even acknowledge its existence.
But you've seen something.
Only the edges. This station is part base, part military stockade, and every week a new shipment of belligerents arrives. Only, Interpol says they're not on anyone's terrorist watch list. Most are just civs. Harmless civs. Burke takes them into a restricted wing of the detention camp, and they just disappear.
Fine. What do you need me to do?
Hold still for a second.
What the?
Relax. I'm just compiling your biometric signature. Retinal scan, pulmonary and vascular imaging, the works. Once I upload it to the network and give Corporal Alan Tyler a security rating, you'll be able to pass through specific checkpoints in this sector.
Only this sector, why not others?
Because you're a fugitive, Jensen. The less room I give you to maneuver in, the more likely it is you'll stay one. I can get you into the detention camp, but the interrogation wing is going to be a problem. Only Burke can give clearances for that.
And I assume you don't want me to go ask for one.
Still the comedian. There's a security mainframe inside the detention camp's central command tower. You'll need to upload this copy of your biometrics there by hand. Contact me using your Infolink once you do. Any more questions?
I'd like a little clarification here about you and Burke. I take it he outranks you.
Technically, yes. But this station is only part military stockade, and while he and his unit have 100% control over the detention camp, I have authority over the base.
So I don't need to worry that this is all just some creative attempt at mutiny.
Mutiny? You think I'd risk so much because... Listen close, Jensen. Burke is a sexist, chauvinist pig, and yes, he outranks me. He's also been in Bell Tower a lot longer than me, so he's got more connections, which he's used to undermine me at every turn. But that is not why you and I are standing here right now. People are getting hurt. Innocent people. And we have to find out why and expose it.
Exposure could destroy Bell Tower.
Bell Tower used to have honor. We do this right, it might again someday.
That's all I need to know.
Good. I'll upload to the security network from here, so get going. Alan Tyler will exist by the time you reach the prison security port. Oh, and one more thing. There's a mechanic on the base named Quinn, a civilian contractor with a sideline in procurement. He's discreet and I trust him. So if you need extra firepower, seek him out. He's near the elevator in the lower level maintenance area. Just be careful and try not to draw too much attention.
So you've just had a very long conversation with Natanya Keitner, a choice conversation. One of the interesting things for us as we approached the writing for the DLC was we realized that we were very limited on our cutscene budget. I think we had 3 minutes total for the whole DLC. And we wanted to actually put more of the storytelling into conversations where the player would actually have choices. We call these forced conversations. It made it for a lot more fun for the player, I think, to experience the story through these dialogues. And it also made it a lot more fun and challenging for the writers because we had so many different variables that we had to react to with how you played the cargo, whether you were being sneaky, whether you were killing people. And we had, so these conversations in the DLC ended up being so much more longer than anything we'd written for any of the conversations we'd written in HR, with the exception maybe of the boss fights. But they were a lot more fun. But the interesting thing about this one was the room that we had to put her in.
If you look around you, you'll notice something weird. There is no door in that room, and that doesn't make sense. And we actually discussed about that during the project. Is should we put doors? But then if we put a door, that means that there's something on the other side of that door, and the player may want to try and figure out how to get there. So even though Natanya is there, you have to assume that she came in there crawling, as Jensen does, because there's no door, so it creates this fake environment.
And that's why we couldn't get her out either. We actually wanted her to leave before the player does, but we just kind of couldn't do that. So that's why she's left standing there working on a computer.
And that's why you can't have your gun in this room.
Yes, because we don't want you to shoot your only ally.